Hey. Yeah, hey.
In the building.
Hey, and welcome to Real Talk Thursdays. Now, I know y'all know that we normally do this every fourth Thursday of the month, but we had a fifth Thursday, so we was like, sure, let's go ahead and get to the money bag on this here is what the world and everyone else is calling Halloween. So hope you guys are trick-or-treating with us on tonight. So that y'all can learn how to get to this money, and that be the bag y'all getting on tonight. And instead of this candy bag, let's get this money bag. What it do? So, as you know, I'm your girl Ronnie D, and we have
Pastor A in the building early.
Early in the streets. Is it early? When
it's early.
He said it's early, but we have some special guests that's actually on here with us tonight as well. That's going to be talking with you also. Even as we are coming in, you guys, you know how we are. We are interactive. We have conversations with our guests and we have conversations with you. So let's talk about what we're talking about because it is going to be good information tonight on leveling up. So speaking of leveling up, would you like to introduce our guest back?
Actually, I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves. This is very special because I admire both of these young men and what God is doing in their life, both spiritually and secularly. So, but I don't want to take any thunder. I'm gonna start going all the way to I think he's in the Milwaukee area, he's somewhere in Wisconsin. Minister Cameron Swain, why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
What's going on, guys? Listen, my name is Minister Cam. Joining you tonight from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, up here in the cheese state. I am currently the senior manager for supervising 10 stores here in Milwaukee, and I basically deal with operations and people operations. So been with my this company about 10 years now, so going strong on the corporate side of the business now. So glad to be with you good folk tonight.
And I do want you, and this is very intentional. How old are you, young man?
I am 29 years old.
Y'all hear that?
29 years old.
Hear the title he just gave y'all. How many stores is under him and at his age? That's important. We'll get back to that later.
All right. And then before I do the next introduction, tonight's broadcast is partially sponsored by Animal Instinct. That's right. Get your swag, get your gear. And our next guest is going to tell you what, not only what that's all about, but also how you can get your merch. So we definitely produce your merch, but I'll let him get into that. The young man coming all the way from Virginia Beach, Virginia. State your name, sir, for the people.
So, Torrance Scott, I am the founder and owner of Animal Instinct. Unleashed came about during the pandemic. I wanted to add something. I saw a lot of people doing something, so I started personal training, and then the idea sparked because I wanted my people to be able to have something to wear that could be a sign of like a trophy. The hardest thing for people to do is get back in shape. A lot of people forget about, themselves when they go and chase a bag. And if you're not well, you can't go chase anything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Helping people do exactly what they need to do so that when they get to the doctor, it's not a last minute situation. You can go last minute shopping, shoe shopping, clothes shopping, all of that stuff. But when it comes to your body, it takes time to heal. So better be preventative rather than reactive when it comes to your body. So when I was 20 years old, I was given a quote. Didn't know why at the time. I thought it was going to be for, dealing with coffee. At the time, I was doing network marketing. So it is the true you is unlocked in your subconscious. Only you have the key. Should you choose to unlock it, there is your relationship with God and your true destiny. So my hashtag is unlock the true you. Everything you are, everything your essence is inside of you. So you have to unlock it. If you look deep within yourself, you'll find everything. So wearing something like right now, I'm wearing the autism. It is, there are special people out there that need to wear it as a badge of honor. And a lot of people may put it down, but I want to uplift it. So different put ideas into is close to me.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good. I'm excited already.
And then so to help our people out, and I'm gonna start actually with you, Minister Swain. What does being a young corporate executive mean to you at such a young age?
I really, Pastor, when I think about my career, right, and what I've been able to do over the last couple of years, being in this realm, I want to say this, that I started from the bottom, right? Started from the bottom. My first job back in the day was pushing carts at a meat and produce store, believe it or not, in Orlando, Florida. And I worked my way up and had people tell me that I would never get to a leadership level, never get to where I am now. And now I oversee 3,000 associates in 10 different Walmart stores running a $500 million business. So when I think about where I'm at 29, right? It gives me great honor and I'm humbled by it because let's be honest about it, right? In Wisconsin, there's not a lot of folk that look like me, right? That in leadership positions and roles. So for me, it gives me that opportunity to mentor and teach other people and for people to see me in the role that I'm at, right? In the position that I'm in and say, hey, you can do this too, right? You can be successful too and look like me, right? Because I was sitting on the regional call when I first got into this role up here, and 85 to 90 leaders on the call. 3 of them look like me.
Wow.
3 out of 85.
Wow.
So when I think about where I'm at, I'm humbled, right? I'm grateful to God and to the folk that took a chance on me, right? And it's just a shining light that anybody can do anything, no matter what you look like.
That's good and very. I keep saying it's very impressive because that's a young age to not have to feel like I can.
Right.
Because most people at your age don't feel like that's something they can accomplish. I can't. That's so far fetched. I can't even imagine myself there. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that could be, and you're 29 there. So that means the thought was like 24, 25. Like definitely at that ripe age of what am I doing with my life?
Right.
And
Right.
you were walking in the, I know what I want to do with my life.
Mhm.
And even if you wasn't like, because I don't know if that's a question you have coming up, like, did you know when you were pushing the cart and they were saying you wasn't going to, and then you leveled up to the next place and leveled up to the next place? Was that the game plan that you was walking out, or was it just like you was finding out each step of the way what if this is really what she wanted to do?
The game plan really was to go to the military. And when I was pushing the carts, right, and I was doing that job, and I really didn't like it. I'm gonna be honest with you. And what propelled me to the next thing was I got fired, believe it or not, from that first job. I got fired, and so that propelled me to go out and look for a new one. And the story is crazy, but I'm going to tell it as quickly as I can. So I was out looking for a new job. I was on the bus. I was still a high school student. And I had a gift card for Starbucks, of all places. So I rolled the bus to Starbucks, and there was the Starbucks was in a plaza of stores.
Okay.
And I walked to the Starbucks, got my Starbucks, and then I walked past a store called Staples. Y'all know what that is, right?
Yeah, of course.
And there was a big sign in the window said "Now hiring." And so I walked into the store, walked up to the general manager, and said, "Hey, my name is Cameron, and I would like to work here." And he interviewed me on the spot, had me go home, and then apply, and then I was called back in the same day, and I was hired. Now, fast forward that job, then I said, okay, well, I'm just going to work this job until I get out of high school. And something clicked in me, and I fell in love with retail, and I found my passion was people, and I knew how to connect with people really well, right? And that propelled me to Walmart, right? But it took me getting fired from that first thing and God pushing me out of that first thing to get me to the next thing that eventually got me to where I'm at now. Does that make sense? Because if I would have never gotten fired from the meat store, I would have never went to Staples. I would have never went to Staples. I would have never met the store manager that hired me into Walmart and being where I'm at.
Gotcha.
Okay. See, it's about place and position, right? All right.
And before he goes there, because I know we're going, and I got to follow up with that, but I definitely want to, from the entrepreneurial side, T. Scott, because he likes to be called T. Scott every time I call him Torrance. What does a young entrepreneur mean to you as being a young owner at such a young age? Like, what is that? Speak to us.
And I also want you to speak to your age. I'm doing this on purpose because people, they're like, no, they're the age that you are right now, that you can do this if you just dream and listen to what they're saying tonight. This can be you too at this age. And so I'm being specific and intentional by asking you to tell your age.
T. Scott, get on the mic.
I'm 35.
Okay.
What it means to be an entrepreneur is after I got out of the Marine Corps, I made a decision that I didn't want to work for anybody else.
Okay.
I see this as an opportunity. I've never given up the idea that I will be a multimillionaire. That is something that I look forward to, and I see it happening, and I walk in it each and every day because it starts with the mind first.
Okay.
Once I got that out of the way, I had to learn how to build something that I've never done before. Every graphic that you see, every color you see up here, I blended personally on my iPad. Nobody taught me how to do it. I sat there for hours to figure it out because I asked people to help me and they didn't help me. And like, it was a lot of, he's doing something that nobody's ever done before. I took my logo and placed it inside of these puzzle pieces. I stripped all the colors and made it that way because there are different people out there that deal with the same thing, but it hits them differently. So they need to know that everything fits together. And that, that's why I made this, because, I have family members that deal with this. So to see how special they are, everything is put together. They just learned it a different way. So me being an entrepreneur, meaning that nobody can put a cap on my thoughts and my belief.
Oh, wow.
So everybody's saying, you know, a lot of people say, if you get the right person to wear, I am the right person. When I
Wow.
airport, they see who I am. They asking, where did I get it? I say, I made it. And they're like, made it. I made it. The name, God gave me the name. This tiger is my favorite animal. I have it tattooed on my chest. And it is an animal that can walk in solitude and have power, and nobody can mess with it. But it's so beautiful from a distance, but it can stand alone and be a force. It represents everything that I am. And I put my passion into my clothing because when I was a kid, everybody had their favorite Nike, Reebok, and everything like that. I had Nike. Used to get the Nike check in my head, and it used to tell me to just do it. I had a lot of self-confidence. So Nike told me to just do it. So I just raced everybody in the hood. And it's like, even though that's a simple message for somebody who's shy, you know, kind of introverted, to just do it means you don't have to think about it, like jumping into 12 feet. So it's bringing what people think is a crazy idea to reality, because we're sitting here talking to each other with computers. If we'd have said this in the 90s, they would have put us in a loony house.
Right.
I used to watch Power Rangers where they talked in there watching Cora Zordon, right? We can
do Apple Watch.
We can do that now with Siri. You know, everything started with an idea. It started with something that people thought was far-fetched. And clothing should change your life. When you wear it, it should be a representation of who you are, not just something that you see that's dope. So when you wear it, you should be empowered. And I want to bring that passion to everybody in their houses, not just because it's a quick buck, but because we're meant to change people's lives. It comes with a message.
Okay. All right, that's good.
Now, I have a saying, usually I say it, that sometimes you have to be disappointed in order to be appointed. This meaning the absence of appointed and removed from something to be placed to where he really wants to place you.
Right.
And I think that requires a certain type of mindset, if you will. So in doing all of that, and I'm gonna start with you, Torrance, and I'm gonna come back to you, Cam. How do you think, with that in mind, how does your mindset have to differ from others at the same age or age bracket that you are?
All right, so I like using metaphors and analogies to help people think the way I think. So rubber band, when you first get a rubber band, before you stretch it, it's real, you know, loose and able to be permeable. So when you take a rubber band and you let it get old, you pull it with brakes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When you go through life, your brain can expand and keep stretched as long as you keep the belief and as long as you have faith. When you stop believing, your faith breaks. Now you're a monotony. And
Okay.
so when you're sitting there and you're letting job stand for just over broke and your mind can't expand anymore, you stay in a rut. And living in God's word, because God said he wants us to have something in abundance.
Right.
Stop believing, you stop having faith. You know, that's when you don't live in abundance. So what keeps my mind going, what keeps me focused at his promise and his word and having faith, according to 23:24, we're able to have these things if we say it and believe it. As long as it's in his word and it's not going against it, we can have it. So I focus on that. Pastor taught me how to do that. And that's why I won't lose and I won't give up on myself, because at the end of the day, I can make it happen and I can make it. So I'm a denominator. So I make sure that I keep the motivation, keep going.
That's good. It's good stuff.
Cam, how do you feel? How you feel like your mindset differs from others at the same age as you?
Well, Pastor, I think that with me, I tell people all the time, I don't play checkers, I play chess, right?
Okay.
And I'm a very strategic thinker, right? So one of the things is that I'm always thinking about how to get greater, right? Greater is always on my mind. What's the next thing? What's the next step? What's next in line, right? Because I think sometimes young folk that's in my age group and younger than me, because I see it all the time because I got a lot of them that work for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are complacent with where they are, and they're not looking for where they want to be, right?
Okay.
They say, oh, well, I got a car and I got an apartment. I'm doing all right, and right, so they want to sit there, they want to sustain that, and they don't think about what's next.
All right.
Versus me, okay, cool. I got the car. Okay, what's next? I got the house. What's next? Right? I'm always
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, okay, what's next? How can we make something greater? How can we improve a process? Right? How can I make this thing easier for me to do? Right? It's an innovative mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, especially my store leaders and things like that, you have two type of people in the world, right? You have innovators and then you have maintainers,
Oh,
right?
okay.
The latter. Don't be the latter. If you're an innovator, you're always thinking about how to expand, how to grow, how to move forward.
Gotcha.
Right? You're forward thinking. Whereas a maintainer, they are complacent and they are okay with the status quo. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to continue to outpace the world and continue to grow and outpace inflation and all these different things that people complain about, you have to be
Mm-hmm.
an innovator, right? You have to think
Gotcha.
about, okay, how do I get to the bag? How do I get to the money
Uh-huh.
in a different way, right? That somebody else is not already doing. So with me, again, I'm an innovator, right? I'm a forward thinking person.
Right.
Versus sometimes I think in my age group, when we get to a certain place, we say, "Oh well, I think I'm doing all right, so let me just maintain. Let me park here." Right?
Mm-hmm.
My car is
Okay.
never in park. We always in drive. We got to stay on the
Okay.
gas.
Never in part.
Okay. So, I mean, it's got to be tough though when you think about it, because I'm listening to both of you guys talk, and both of you guys definitely displaying the leadership quality of it. But sometimes, some of our greatest hindrances is our inner circle, and the people around you. So, what do you do? And either one of you guys could tackle this when your inner circle or family, I'll just say it very bluntly, your family members are those close to you happen to be a maintainer when you're an innovator. Like, how do you deal with that when your inner circle is not keeping up?
Right. Because
Well,
is it
I
a
think that
hindrance? Is it a block?
He's about to answer.
I think that you change your circle, Pastor. That
Okay.
you change your circle, right? And understand this. I learned this a long time ago. Where you're meant to go, right, and where you're going as an innovator, the maintainers cannot go, right?
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with maintainers. Nothing wrong with them at all, right? God bless them. They're there for a purpose, but you have to understand as you continue to grow in business and God and your faith in all things, right? You have to understand that everybody can't go where you're destined to go,
Uh-huh.
right? And at a certain point, they fall off, and that's okay. And growing up, right, had to kind of learn and experience that firsthand, right, to kind of really, really understand it within in depth. Because sometimes it hurts, right? That you can't take brother, sister, mama, daddy, cousin, auntie them with you, right?
Mm.
But what I've also learned is if you continue to let them hold on to you, right, you'll be running fast forward and standing still all at the same time.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I'm running fast forward standing still, Chad.
Wow.
That was
Wow. That was
that was
bars.
good.
As people not too much younger than me would say, those were bars. T, you got anything to chime on that?
I say this way:
Mhm.
if the people that are in your inner circle are doing opposite of what you want to do, change it. Same way
Right.
I said. The reason why is because if you have an apple inside of your bag whenever you buy it, are you going to keep the molded one or are you going to change the bag that you have?
Oh, wow.
When you have great fruit that you are about to have, like you go into the next level, you can't have something that's going to spoil what you have. So if you carry them with you, eventually it will get to the center of you and you will be corrupted. So, it's just, you have to be surrounded by who you want to be.
Yep.
I posed a question on Facebook one day, and I was like, okay, parents, are you the person you want your child to date or marry?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if you can't say wholeheartedly, yes, there's some things you need to fix within yourself. So when you're climbing to the next level and other people will see that, they're attracted to you and they're going to want to do it. But a lot of people don't want to put in the work. Your spirit of discernment, because Kevin Hart said it best on his thing. He said, everybody want to be famous. Don't nobody want to do the work.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing like your walk. Everybody see where you're at. They want to do what you're doing. Cam, they see where you at and they want to do it, but do they want to walk in your shoes? Do they want to put those in the snow, in the sleet, in the hail, when it's hot? You know, everything you had to do, Cam, to get there, do they want to do that? You know, to sit there and learn how to do something from scratch that you've never done. I've never done fashion a day in my life. But you can't surround yourself with people that's going to put limits on your thinking as well. Because you're going to be like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And then they're going to be like, can you really though? Do you really think you can do that? You know, can you really make 6 figures doing this? Can you really do that? That right there sows the seed of doubt. So I wholeheartedly agree with Cam.
Everybody wants to be a smoothie, but nobody wants to get in the blender.
Yeah, she just put that, and that is so wild. Explain that. Why'd you put that?
Now, that's something Pastor Murray used to say all the time, and when he said it, I was like, you know what? Because you want that good produce, you want the product, you want the thing, you want it already done, looking good, tasting good for you, making money, doing the things, but you don't want to put none of the work in. It's going to require you to get there. You don't want to be pressed. You don't want to be crushed sometimes. You don't want to be shaken. You don't want nothing to happen to you. You don't want no changes, because you have to go from the fruit, you have to go from the kale, you got to go from the solid, the thing that once was, and be crushed and shaped and molded and twisted until you change form and become what is the smoothie, because the smoothie doesn't have the solid whole parts in it anymore. It has transformed at this point. And what it has transformed to is also good to you, but on a different level. Because the fruit that went in the blender was good for you.
Okay.
That's why you chose those particular foods, because there's certain nutrients and things you needed in it. But when it became the smoothie, it was good for you on another level, in a different way. And so I don't want to go through the changes. I don't want to go through the pressing. I don't want to go through the alterations and the discomfort sometimes that requires shifting, so that I can get the thing that I've been looking. Well, Cam, can I just bypass? What can I do to hurry up and get to where you at right now? What can I do to hurry up and get to me? And you can't bypass the blending. You got to go through the blender to get the smoothie. You just can't bypass that. That's just not how that works.
That's not how it works. I've learned how I know I'm growing is because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? I use the analogy all the time that when you think about a baby, right, and they're starting to tease, and they're teething, right? Are they all happy-go-lucky, or are they whiny?
Right.
They're usually crying because it hurts, right? Because there's something manifesting on the inside that's growing sprouting, right? So when you're growing, just know if it's uncomfortable, growth is not comfortable. So if you feel uncomfortable, just know that there's something manifesting on the inside that's getting ready to come up.
You better preach, Minister Cam.
So growth is not comfortable, right? And I think about like olive oil, and I don't know why God was dealing with me with this, so it's gonna preach out the while, I promise you. And I had to research how they made it.
Of course.
It goes through 7 different cycles of pressing.
Yep.
7 presses, yeah.
7 different cycles of pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing, right? From one machine to the next machine to the next machine before they actually have the finished product, which is olive oil. Right? So what does that tell me? There's levels to this thing.
Yeah.
Right? When you want to get into this, right, understand that it comes with a price. There's some pressing, there's some crushing, and there's levels to it before you actually get to where me and this young brother that's on the line with me are.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about what you're saying as far as pressing and crushing. And see, now you're going to dig into my teaching moment. I promise. I was trying not to say much, but during those 7 presses, each time there's a little bit of oil collected each time. And then they collect that portion of it. You go to the machine and collecting. So I'm saying, even in your pressing, do not knock at what you're actually being collected from at each phase.
Come on.
You're picking up something. You're picking up something. It's not all about and the thing about it is, it's not always about the finished thing. I'm sure as entrepreneurs and young execs, each crushing, you collected something that was going to be deposited into a greater whole, which is eventually that olive oil. Which is eventually that. I promise. I was trying not to say that.
So
sorry.
Think about it.
So, go ahead, T.
Oh no, I was about to say. I think about it like this: like it's like working out.
Mm-hmm.
Your first working out, like 135 is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Lifting it a while, 135 feels like 5 pounds, and you move up further and further and further. And each time you don't realize what you look like. You have to look in the mirror. See, I challenge all my clients to, from Friday to Friday, go 12 weeks and then look at week 1. You see yourself every single day. So when you see yourself every day, you won't see the small minor improvements.
Okay.
With our people, we lose inches before we lose pounds. And then we think sometimes when the weight gained is bad, but muscle weighs more than fat.
You're actually helping us out because I'm gonna share you something.
So when you trim the fat and you get the muscle, it may feel like you weigh more, but you're stronger. You move better, and you get through what you need. Having muscle is not always something that's going to be light. And the responsibility of doing what you do, like eating right, drinking water, not consuming sugars. Sugars, 1% of the body, it takes. So when you take what you don't need and you push it out your body, you can perform better. Same thing with life. When you're getting pressed with the oil, when you're working out and you're pushing, you breathe right, you can get better. And when you're collected, when you're all together, the finished product are things like when people have the muscle competitions. Those are finished products. Olive oil, when you have it, when you're cooking that chicken, when you're hearing that sizzling and that fish fry, you hear that finished product coming. That food smells good. When it's fresh, you know that fresh piece of chicken is the greatest thing ever because the juice is still in it when you taste it. So one thing is a step for the next thing. So that olive oil is going to make some good food for people.
And that was an encouragement. I'll be honest, in a moment of transparency for me and Dr. Ronnie, because we were like, this is our second week back at the gym. And we were like, yo, why I don't see like I'm doing a diet, I'm doing a water thing. And
not diet, but food, lifestyle change,
excuse me. And I don't see no change, but I'm in the gym 4 times a week.
Let me give you a gem real quick.
Okay.
When you first put a seed in the ground, do you see it growing?
Come on.
Let's talk about it.
It goes down first. People always are looking for the upward progress when your roots got to go down further.
You better talk about it.
Oh, wow.
So when you're working out, your body has to get used to it on the inside first. So that when I come up, you can see the progress because you breathe out 98% of your fat. So when you're breathing out stuff, you're working.
Something happened. We lost him for a second. But I think I got what he was saying, as far as, going down and developing roots before you see the fruit. And I want to start with you because I believe he's probably coming back. Cam, to get where you were and where you are, and you're still going. Oh, we see you. You there?
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
There you go. See, you were talking about the planning and going down the roots.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I can't hear you.
You may try jumping off and coming back in, and then we'll go to Cam.
There you go.
All right. While he's doing that, Cam, it seems like, and I'm listening to you, I'm impressed by what God is doing in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like, there's definitely more to go. But let me ask you this question this way. Were there any mentors or role models that you followed while you were on your journey?
I think about, Pastor, there's been a lot of mentors
Okay.
that I could think of. Reverend Stanley Murray is one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That man, when I was in my teens,
Okay.
never knew that he would become my pastor and be a valued mentor and a friend.
Okay.
But in my professional career, had my first store manager was one of my biggest mentors, because one, she gave the young 18, 19-year-old a shot when nobody else would, right? Because she believed in me, and she hired me based off of the customer service that I provided her while she was in one of my schools.
Okay.
Right. And so she's become a mentor, and 10 years later, still communicate with her on a semi-monthly basis.
Gotcha.
But and some of the things that I picked up from her, that I carry to this day, is just the way she interacted with people. She was a successful store manager and district manager, because she knew how to connect with people. Because in my business, right, it's 80% people and about 20% operations, right? The operations, the 20% is a taught skill that we can teach you, right? We can teach you how to read a P&L. We can teach you how to run a building. We can teach you the processes, but I cannot teach you how to have empathy for the associate that's going through.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And one of the things that I do to this day, Pastor, in 10 years of leadership, I've never told anybody that's reported to me to do anything. Never.
Oh, really? Okay.
Never told anybody to do anything. Why do I say that? I've always asked them to do it. And one of the things that I carry with me from her is she used to have this way of walking up to an associate and be like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you help me out with this? And I found great success. I was sitting in some listening sessions. We do this thing every year where we take a poll of our associates of how they're feeling in the buildings, and then they give us a score, and then we go in as a district team and we do listening sessions, and we listen to the associates on what the problems are in the building, right? And one of the listening sessions that I was sitting in yesterday, the respect for the individual kept coming up over and over again. And one of the problems was that they felt like leadership just talked at them and not to them.
Okay.
Right. And then I just thought about it back, and that it came back up in my head right then and there. Immediately, it was like, if they would have just asked them to do them a favor, they asked for a favor. They asked them. It's all about the approach and how you ask people to do things, right? Versus telling them and talking down to them and talking to them. So that's one thing that I've always carried with me from her, because it's been successful over the 8 stores that I've been a leader in, right? Between Florida, Georgia, and now Wisconsin, it's been successful. So yes, definitely had my mentors, and then on the spiritual level, of course. Reverend Stanley Murray has always held me accountable, right?
Sure. Great man.
He used to have this saying where he would come down on you, and he was like, if you know I care about you, I shouldn't have to watch how I talk to you. And I carried that with me because at the end of the day, no matter what he was getting on me about, and I probably deserved it, right, most of the time. More than I'm willing to admit sometimes. But I knew that there was a level of care and love there, because he was a progressive thinker just like me, right? And he wanted to see things go forward. So absolutely, gotta
Okay.
have any wise leader has a leader and a mentor to lean on.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna come back to the. I'm definitely gonna come back. You said a couple of things I definitely want to hit on. T. Same
Yes, sir.
question. I know you were out, but the question is: were there any along your journey? Were there any mentors or role models that you followed, and what did you pick up? It's a three part, and do you still use it today?
Mm. Yeah, I've had mentors. I would say my first mentor was you.
Oh, really?
The way you approached the word when you spoke, how you articulated the examples. I like your presence and your suits. It showed me how to look your best. And when you look your best, you're going to do your best.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched how a lot of places you went, you wore suits, even for your work, your job, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a certain demeanor that came
Mm-hmm.
with it. It was like if you look in the 1960s and 50s and even in the 70s, they wore suits a lot.
Yeah.
And, even the gangsters wore suits out of respect. And, just to, you made me learn how to dress up good.
Mm-hmm.
And I carry that even in school. I had days where I just wore suits for a whole week, didn't even walk, any shoes, nothing like that. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
had blessed me with some suits in high school. I wore all of them for like a week and a half. I had enough to wear for a week and a half. And I just did it because honestly, it made me feel closer to you because of how you showed me, So then I had my track coach
Okay.
taught me how to run, made things make sense, made it fun. A lot of people see running as a chore, but for those few seconds that I'm going as fast as I can, like I'm flying, feels like I can take off and I'm free. And he showed me how to believe in myself, and my speed. I
Mm-hmm.
honestly didn't know I was as fast as I was. And
Mm-hmm.
in that belief, I carried that with me. He said, never go into a meet thinking that you lost because you've already lost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Change the way you think and you'll start winning races. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of hair. I had a big fro back then. So all you saw was the short man with a fro just bouncing up and down, just flying down the track
Mm-hmm.
because of the belief he had in me. And I took that until I believed in myself. High school, Pastor Carlos, Minister
Mm-hmm.
Ken, Minister Terrell, those guys saved me from going down the wrong path.
Mm.
I was going to join the gang. My father died first day of eighth grade, and I had given up on a lot. And I was like, who's going to teach me? I didn't feel like I had, I could lean on anybody. I, as a man, you're never taught how to deal with your feelings. You just take them and
Mm-hmm.
put them in a box and stuff them somewhere. So I didn't know. I prayed to God. I mean, at least I knew enough to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and that started with you being my mentor first. And
Okay.
then they took me, taught me martial arts, and then I found a love for it, and I actually stopped fighting because of that. They told me what can kill somebody, so you got to be responsible. I'm
Right.
a I'm the oldest child, so when he said responsible, I was like, all right. So I could have gotten a lot of fights in high school, but I never threw a punch. And why that's significant is because I fought a lot in middle school. But when they gave me that responsibility, I took that.
Oh, wow.
Uh, in the Marine Corps, I had somebody teach me how to be a leader effectively because I was a 19-year-old man,
Mm-hmm.
young man, in charge of thousands of Marines. And their lives and everybody's livelihood was on me in war. And that's a lot to put on a 19-year-old shoulders.
Wow.
And, knowing that if I don't know how to do my job, stuff is done. And I got taught how to lead people who were older than me to be able
Wow.
to suggestively talk to people like Cam was saying. That's why I kind of chuckled with it because when you ask people something, you can ask in a way where you make them feel like it's not demanding, it's suggestive. And it gives them the power to say yes or no. And they're more likely to say yes because you were respectful and asked.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I never did was I never told any of my Marines to do anything I wouldn't do,
Aha.
because I always, lead by example. When I started doing network marketing, I had millionaires tell me, once your mindset is stretched, you'll never be able to go back.
Oh
Mm.
And that's where
wow.
I got the rubber band concept, because I have not been able to think normal the way people think.
Hmm.
And, for a second, I was like, dang, am I putting too much on myself? Rod Smith, he is a two-time Super Bowl champion, MVP, wide receiver. I met him, and he
Hmm.
said this: when I first got into the league, when I was on the practice squad, I took a picture of an $11 million home. At this point, all I was on was the practice squad. He said, when I finally got my chance, I built the house. I forgot all about that picture, but I studied it so much that he built the house exactly the way that picture was.
Oh
He
wow.
found it when he was moving, and he was like, wow. And he wowed himself. And it's because he studied it and his mind never went back. He was always that, two-time Super Bowl champion. He was just on the practice squad and he had to get there. So then I move on to right now. I got Pastor JL,
Mm-hmm.
I got Pastor G, I
Mm-hmm.
had Bishop Kim Brown, I
Mm-hmm.
had Pastor LJ. These people taught me that where I come from doesn't have to be where I'm going.
Amen.
Mm.
Bishop Brown will tell you in 5 seconds. He's from Portsmouth, Virginia. He's from the hood. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually lived on his street for a while. And he said now he's in a big house in the country. You got Pastor JL. We all, don't know his story, but he is a person that came from the penitentiary to where he is now, leading churches and locations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So people who look like me, who went down similar paths or anything like that, has become great. And God is no respecter of person. So
Mm-hmm.
having these people in my life, and everything they have taught me, I have used and I've modified it for my life, because the way they used it fits their life. And the way I had to use it for me, it has me in a different mindset right now, because things that, including you, have taught me way back then, it comes up in my life now. And I have the tool to be able to grab in my bag.
Mm-hmm.
There was one time, Pastor Carlos, I was in the Marine Corps. I called him and I was so frustrated with the Marine Corps. I had the conversation by myself. With everything that he had taught me, all the answers was coming up every time I said the question. And he was like, you didn't need to call me. You just needed to talk about it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I learned, hey, it's not crazy to say it out loud, because you have to hear it sometimes to see,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel that way? So I'm grateful to you and everybody along the way that has taught me how to be who I am today, because it's a conglomerate of everything that, pieces of everybody is inside.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like mentors are, both of you have identified how mentors have, you gleaned from them, they put you in
Mm-hmm.
position, you respect their role in
Mhm.
helping you define,
Mm-hmm.
fine tune and define who you are. And then with that being said, you're able to respect how that is continuing to impact you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just want to say something, because you guys are both inspired something. The stuff that I taught you, I know, it's my nephew. I actually got it from my mentor, Bishop Northley. I still catch myself um, doing and saying stuff that he says subconsciously. And he gave me three things that, as long as I followed it, I was
Mhm.
successful in life. But then when I got away from it, I veered off. And he said, I'm gonna give you three things that's not only gonna make you a successful minister, but gonna make you a successful man. He said, know the Lord, know the word, and then live the life. And what I learned by him, I put on suits because of him, because, coming from, when I lived in Waterbury, Connecticut, one of the filthiest places on the planet, no disrespect to anyone that's there, but he taught me how to conduct myself both inside and outside. And part of that was wearing a suit. And so basically the mentorship that I got from him, I was able to pass down to T. And so this leads me to my next question, because it sounds like I'm hearing from both of you guys of how mentorship you've actually learned and passed, and stuff that was passed down to you. So my question to both of you guys, and you guys can answer this in any order, how would you mentor the next generation coming after you?
I think about when I think about mentorship, Pastor. I think about I believe that I already do it, and I do it every day. As I'm sitting with associates, right? Because I make it a habit of visiting all of our stores at least once a week. I'm there at all 10 given stores, right? And I sit down with the associates and I stop and I talk to them, right? And they see, again, everybody sees the car and they see this and they see all this stuff and think that, oh, well, you just got it all. And my question is to them, well, you can have it too, but how bad do you want it?
Ooh.
Right? What do you? My brother said, he made the comment about Nike earlier. It was just do it. Like, you just got to get in this thing and do it. So when it comes to mentorship with me, I have several mentees throughout our stores that I mentor, and I've taken them on because these are younger men, right? And it's just not even teaching them so much about the business side, but how to be a black man in this type of thing, how to conduct yourself. Does that make sense? Right. So, and I take I want the ones that walk into work and you got your pants around you, you're sagging your pants. I want that guy. Right. Because I want to teach you how to conduct yourself as a man, right, that wants to be in this business space. So I take on those type of young men, right, and teach them how to walk it, how to talk it, right? Because there's a certain talk to this thing. You can't just go and sit in front of regional managers and market directors and all these different folk and not know how to talk the lingo. So you got to talk the talk, right? There's a certain way that you have to dress this thing up. Right. You gotta dress a certain way. And I make it when I'm mentoring my group of folk, I make it a point to tell them that, right, this space wasn't created for you. And I think all of us on this video chat know what I mean by that.
Okay.
Right? It wasn't created for you, so that you have to work twice as hard to prove that you're just as good as everybody else that's in line. Right.
Gotcha.
So you gotta when you step, you gotta step and you gotta step hard. Right.
Okay.
And that's what I teach, right? You gotta walk it, you gotta talk it, and then you gotta know the business. And again, the business is the teachable skills that that doesn't take long to teach. Right. We can teach you that. But the first thing is, how do you walk and how do you talk and how do you look like you should be in the room? And once you're in the room, what do you say?
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Once you get in the room, right, because there has to be substance so that you can stay in the room, right? Teaching them how to be able to stay in that room and be able to be in that space and be confident in that space,
Gotcha.
right? Building up that confidence level so that they can stand in front of somebody that's 3 levels above them and feel comfortable, right?
Okay.
How to interview well. Right. What is that interviewing skill? Because I'm a very good interviewer, right? I'm really good at interviewing, right? What does that look like? How do you interview well, right?
Right.
So sitting down doing mock interviews with them, so that they understand, like, when you're going out for these positions, like, what do you say, what do you don't say, right? Very simple formula to that, right? When you answer the question, and when you have nothing else to say, stop talking. Don't say nothing else. Don't start rambling, right? So when it comes to mentorship, I pride myself on doing it, because I got here because somebody mentored me.
All right.
I got here because somebody poured into me. Now, it's my duty and my job, right, to continue to pour into somebody else, because I know I have sense enough to know that I'm here, but because God always wants greater for his people, I can't stay here.
Right. Successor.
You are my next week's lesson, but go ahead.
Because I know I have sense enough to know, right, as my dad would say, that I can't stay here. I got to make way for the next person that's in line. So you can't gatekeep, right? You can't gatekeep the information, right? When you're talking about these younger folk, because they don't know what they don't know, right? They don't stuff in school. You're not gonna learn it, right? So if I can pour into somebody, the next generation, that's what I'm gonna do, because you have to train up that next generation of leaders so somebody can take your spot when God you to greater.
Amen.
Right. That's good. That's good.
Now, T, how would you mentor the next generation? Same question.
Through my experiences is how I teach. Because the best way to be for me, and how I learned, is through somebody else's experiences. And it taught me what to do, what not to do, what to look for, what certain things bring. And it gave me an edge. Now I can say some things I just still did it, and I found out the hard way, but that was me being hard-headed. But experiences teach patience, because this person will say, I went through all of this to get here. And then you don't feel like you have to arrive by a certain time, because at the end of the day, this is everybody's first time at life. So how do you know you are where you're supposed to be at a certain time if you've never been here before?
Right.
You have other people you can glean from. There's other journeys. Your journey, I'm from Waterbury, Connecticut. My sisters are from Waterbury, Connecticut, but our journeys are different. Where I'm going to go, they're not going to go. So it doesn't matter if you're from the same person, from the same womb, or anything like that. It is your specific journey. So when you get experiences, they're more like guidelines. They're more like having an outline, and you taking bullet points, and you can talk about a certain subject. So you can take something, put the bullet point right there, and it gives you the ability to know what the chapter is about. But your chapter will be different. You'll know their chapter, but your chapter will be different. So a lot of people, because you may have grown up similar, can pull from it and be like, you know what, I'm gonna just stay away from it because I don't want to see how it ends. A lot of chapters don't have to end. You can stop it in the middle and restart. It's your life.
Wow. That's good.
You can push pause, rewind, stop things, and delete it. Delete the behavior so that you don't have to have that same experience. You know, take it further. I'm 35. I would love for somebody who is 20 to be further than where I am. You know, I love that my brother right here is killing it. You got to be able to see other people win so that you can win. Samuel L. Jackson didn't start acting until he was in his 40s. So did Vera Wayne. All these people did it later in life, but it's when they were supposed to do it, because their experiences made them shoot up quick. You could be going through something like this, and it seemed like you're going through so much, and then one night you wake up, all your dreams come true.
Right.
But it's not overnight for you, because you went through this process. And you had to endure. You had to have long suffering. Like, people can look at Cam, people can look at you, people can look at you, honestly, and be like, dang, they just got it. That's overnight. I saw them yesterday, but they don't know the years and the years of beating down and weathering and fire and forging and pressing and just everything you had to go through, the deaths, the near death experiences, everything you went through, all the spiritual battles. It's not even the battle that you see, it's the battle you don't see that gets people.
Wow.
So I just take everything little by little. All experiences are trophies, things I can pick up and be like, I've been through that. I've been through that. Oh, I got first place in this. Because in your life, you're the only competitor. You're not competing with anybody else.
That's the part.
So all your trophies are first place trophies.
No, you said a lot.
Yeah, you did.
You said a lot.
Both powerful.
This was a good, a good conversation tonight. I think it was important because we are in the fourth quarter, of the year.
Yeah.
We are wrapping up, and people are thinking, "Oh, it's over with. Oh, it's done. Oh, I want to be further along than I am right now. I guess I'm have to like fold it in." I get and I'm saying that like they look at it like how people see the end of a year coming, but some people think that like, oh, I didn't get where I needed to get by 25, so I don't know if I can do it. Or, hey, I got all this time in the world eventually. Or, hey, I didn't make it to this point, I didn't make it to that point, and they're just like not looking at things, I think, hopeful, realistically, with faith, because you both have spoken about how faith is important and has been important in this journey with you all. I wish we had more time to kind of talk about that, but and I just first, I would like to, applaud and thank God for your following of His leading you and guiding you and using your moments to make something out of it. You know what I'm saying? You use the olives to make oil, and so and it's benefiting because you now have the responsibility of not only carrying that mantle but passing it down so the next person can come up, right? Because like you said, can't be paying it forward. I'm doing this for the next person. I got to get out the way so they can get in the way.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And then towards you talk about we got to share this. This is a part of us coming to this place you're not being stingy with is lonely at the top. Because I've always said the only reason why it's lonely at the top is because you don't want nobody to go with you. That's the only reason. And so I don't like that quote. It's like it ain't only in my top, bro. Because listen, I ain't gonna take the people who ain't doing no work. Maintaining gonna maintain. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna move it to the innovators.
Right.
That's what Kim told me. Move, let innovators get to this time.
And maintainers are complainers anyway.
But see, some maintainers, that's their position. So you play your position.
Okay.
But the innovators, y'all come forward, and we gonna head over here to this top place. Okay. And so I find it important. 3 things I represent tonight.
Sure.
Blackness, age, that most people feel like I can't at this age. I'm too young at this age. Ain't nobody taking me serious at this age. I don't even know what I want at this age. It's impossible at this age. All the little things, right? And then thirdly, which is a big thing, males. I could have had some boss chicks on here. Talk about the talk. Talk that talk, money. Walk that walk, honey. You know what I'm saying? But it's the Black male spaces that we need to see more and understand more, because you have the Black males that don't know their worth. You have the Black males that don't know their value. You don't know the Black males that don't think they can do anything other than be basketball players or street hustlers. You have the Black males that don't know that there's spaces like this for them that y'all reside in, and there's a possibility for me. And so now that I know that y'all there, maybe I can come to y'all and figure out how I can get on the not the quick way and not the shifty way, but then I can see, y'all some men that y'all sound solid. So it was important that y'all were the ones that was on here tonight, because there was an indirect thing that I did that I also needed to come from this moment. So thank you for coming.
Definitely.
Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you.
Though, I want to honor, like Pastor Apostle Jail tells us, honor your time and the time you have given us. Is there anything y'all want to say in closing as it relates to encouraging another Black male, encouraging somebody of this age group, whatever it is that you want to, like, if there's anything you want to leave the people with?
I'll go first. If I could leave any young brother, young sister with anything, there was a song that was written in the 80s, and it said, "Sunny days, everybody loves them, but can you stand the rain?" Right? Understand this. Anything that's worth having is not easy to obtain. But as long as you stay grounded, rooted, and focused on the plan and the Lord Jesus Christ, you can obtain anything that you want. The Clark sisters wrote a song that says the sky's the limit to what you can have. Well, I'm here to tell you, the sky is not the limit. It goes much further than that. So keep God first, keep striving, keep believing, and then just be like Nike, just go do it.
All right. That's what's up. T, what you got for us?
I want to leave with everybody. Just trust yourself, trust Holy Spirit, and believe in what he's saying about you, because he was brought here as a comforter. Make him that person inside of you that can help you through the dark times and help you through the moments where you don't believe in yourself. You have everything inside of you that God needed you to have in your life. So look within and not without. Get addicted to God and nothing else.
Amen. And if I could say something, thank you. To me, it was important to have both sides of the coin here. You know, a young entrepreneur, and then also a young Black corporate exec, because Cam, believe it or not, you're a rarity, because many of us fall through the cracks, and I could identify even being older than you. Sometimes I go through meetings and stuff for people that don't look like you. So you're giving our next generation, both of you guys are giving our next generation hope. And if I just want to leave both of you guys with something as encouragement, because I heard you both say in different ways, you know, of how you were giving of yourselves and, you know, pouring in. And Cam, I heard you say make room for the other, for, you know, someone else not being a gatekeeper. And T, you know, I heard you saying, you know what I mean, being the example for the next will come behind you. Proverbs 11:24 in the Message Bible says this. It says, the world of the generous gets larger and larger, but the world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller. So I want to encourage both of you guys to keep giving of yourselves, keep being and passing down what's been passing to you, and watch God, both of you guys, and you guys will eventually, and I say this with no disrespect, but you will surpass even your mentors. But your mentors will be behind you, pushing and cheering you on, because that's a good father, IEC, 2 Kings chapter 2. I ain't gonna get into that. But thank you guys both. I applaud you guys. I am smiling very hard on the inside because I had a chance to be a part of both of your journey. So I'm honored that you guys would grace us with what you gave us. Any final words, my lovely?
No, I said what I had to say before they said that last piece, so I'm good. Again, thank you, and we'll see you you guys again soon. I will put this plug out there. We do have a Real Talk birthday party coming up in December, because both of our birthdays are in December, and so we have a special treat for the Real Talk viewers that also would involve the Real Talk guests that we've had so far since we relaunched this in September, August,
something like that.
And so be looking forward to that. Details will be coming for that soon. The date is in December, December the 12th, if I'm not mistaken.
Somewhere around here, I think so.
And so be looking forward to that, because it's going to be a good time. So just want to thank y'all for coming. Appreciate y'all, and y'all have a good rest of your nights, and talk to y'all next time.
Sir.
Right.
Sir.
And there we go.